Hi, everyone. Hi. Thanks for being here. Are there any people who were at last year's Food Innovation Summit as well? Can you put your hands up? Okay, it's good to see so many new faces and so many new people, representatives of the food sector, and people interested in the growing plant-based trend, which is happening all over. And with my presentation, I would like to give a bit of a more global perspective. With the last panel discussion, we heard what is happening in Estonia, how do representatives from the restaurant sector see the plant-based trend. So let's look at what is happening on a global level as well. And then by the end of the presentation, I'll come back to Estonia. So, I am the founder of Taimne Teisipäev in Estonia, and with this presentation, I would like to offer you some examples of success stories in the plant-based meat alternatives section. I will introduce our campaign a bit, our work in Estonia, and I will offer some insight on marketing strategies for plant-based foods. So let's get started. And what's a presentation without an inspirational quote from Bill Gates, obviously? So actually, Bill Gates goes way back with his interest in plant-based foods. Already as early as in 2013, Bill Gates was writing on his website that he was testing different meat alternatives, mainly from the company which was then called Hampton Creek, but is now known by the name of Just. And the way Bill Gates describes his experience in tasting these plant-based meats is it's not just tasty food products that I'm eating, that I'm tasting. This is the taste of the future of food. So he clearly makes the connection already back in 2013, saying that since the environmental impact of the global meat production is a problem we should all be concerned about, then the food industry needs to make some adjustments, and the current meat-eating habits need to find some very, very good alternatives to sell to the market so that we could keep staying in competition but not kill our planet at the same time. So that's Bill Gates's angle on the topic. But a few words about our campaign, Taimne Teisipäev in Estonia, which is a Meatless Monday equivalent. So our work focuses on three big areas, basically. We cooperate with the food sector, with restaurants. We have more than 60 restaurants joined with the campaign and many more lined up who want to join. With retailers to promote plant-based food products. And now, as a new service, we are offering marketing consultations for companies who are interested in marketing their plant-based products to a wider audience. So you probably have seen the leaflets all over everywhere in a Swiss hotel, but if you haven't found them yet, Taimne Teisipäev has an info stall at the trade fair, so find us there. And we offer a free first consultation to your company, and from there on, we can continue our cooperation. We also work together with government institutions. This is a new line of work that we're following. Cooperation with the Health Development Board and also with local governments and schools. Actually now, 2 schools in Estonia are on a pilot test period of implementing Meatless Monday in their schools. So after we have gone through the tests, we get feedback from students, from chefs, from everyone involved. Then we can develop this as a nationwide initiative, having children eat plant-based food once a week at schools. So this is a new line in our work that we're currently testing. And also consumer awareness. We want to be partners to people, not just judging them because they don't eat healthy enough or don't eat enough fresh foods or vegetables, or if they eat too much meat. If we would be judging them, then we would be judging the majority of the population, and that's not what we want to do. So we share useful tips on how to eat more plant-based foods, what and where to buy, what to cook, where to eat out, what are good alternative products if you want to eat less meat. So we want to be able to respond to the question, how do I eat less meat? Not why should I do it? So these are the main three pillars of the Taimne teisipäev campaign in Estonia. But why did we decide to initiate a campaign like that? According to Tervise Arengu Institute, the Health Development Board of Estonia, the average meat consumption per person was 78.5 kilograms. That's twice as much as would be recommended by the national food recommendations. And this is something that is a huge national-wide issue. As you have probably heard, the number one early death cause in Estonia are heart and basically heart failure, heart issues, problems, different problems that occur when people don't have healthy eating, moving, living habits. And one thing that can contribute to it is eating excess meat products. So at the moment, we're in a situation where Estonians eat twice as much meat as is recommended by the national food recommendations. When we look at statistics from all over Western Europe, all over like developed countries, it's similar everywhere. In the States, it's nearly 100 kilograms per person, so good luck to Americans. Luckily, there are good and effective initiatives popping up all over Europe that offer good alternatives to people to make sure that these numbers keep on getting lower and lower, so that initially we would be able to reach a level that would not be killing our health. So that is an important goal. The situation in Estonia is that during the last years, meat consumption has been growing a few kilograms per year per person every year, except for last year when it dropped 4 kilograms. So fingers crossed, whatever way, that this is a trend that we're seeing and not just a glitch in the statistics. So soon we will have new numbers, and we really hope that meat consumption would be getting lesser and lesser. That's a trend that we can slowly see in some Western European countries as well that have high consumer awareness about why eating too much meat might not be the best idea for your health, and where there are really, really good alternatives available, and the alternatives are marketed to the wider population, not only to the vegetarian, vegan segment of society. So we want to make sure that Estonia joins the list of countries where meat consumption is slowly going down, because it's really important. But let's look at the situation globally. I want to give you a few success stories of companies who have been able to make sure that really tasty, delicious, nutritious, and environmentally friendly meat alternatives don't only stay on the plates of vegetarians and vegans, because everyone needs to know this. This is good stuff. So you have probably heard about Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, who is also present today at the fair. But I also want to talk a bit about Sweet Earth and Moving Mountains. So Impossible and Beyond Meat are US-based companies that are changing the game in the food industry. And I will speak a bit more in depth about them. And Sweet Earth is a company recently bought by Nestle, who has announced that Nestle, as a global food giant, is making bigger and bigger investments into the plant-based sector because they understand that things are changing. The more and more media, the more and more consumers talk about environmental issues, the more we understand that sadly, a diet very rich in animal products cannot be viable. So Nestle decided to invest into Sweet Earth, and now they are launching a new burger called Awesome Burger. Okay, yeah, I guess it's easy to market if your burger is called Awesome Burger. And Moving Mountains is another really interesting case. It's a company based in the UK. And they are trying to be the equivalent of Impossible Foods in Europe. So they aim high, which I like. And they are being served in more and more restaurants in Europe. So this is something I would really hope to see in Estonia soon as well. But with Impossible Burger, they are basically the market leader in that sense that if in the summer of 2018, they moved into larger production facilities because everyone was wanting their burgers, which are plant-based. Now in the summer of 2019, they also needed to move to bigger production facilities because they increased their production threefold. So it's basically, we're talking about a sector that is developing so fast that the only problem can be that are they capable of maintaining all these super fast changes? So in September, Impossible Foods became available at retail stores in the US. It became the most sold out product immediately in supermarkets. It's crazy. Like, I actually wanted to put screenshots here because even I couldn't believe it. And I work in the field, but it was the most sold out product, and the next product was 6 times less sold. It was sold more than any meat product, sold more than any of your average most sold household product. So people are craving for the Impossible Burger, and these people aren't only vegetarians and vegans. So it's also available in 17,000 restaurants in the US. Burger King launched the Impossible Whopper, which was also immediately sold out. I keep repeating that, but that's the case here. So in the States, the statistic is it's the most sold late-night delivery snack. And in the first half of 2019, the sales grew 529%. So the development story is absolutely mind-blowing. And the thing is that they get so many orders from, stadiums, from school cafeterias, etc., and they cannot really fill all these orders because interest is bigger than their already growing product capabilities. And I'm sorry that this is all pixely and 90s, but I really love this place, this text from their website. I will read it to you. We've been eating meat since we lived in caves, and today some of our most magical moments happen together around meat. Weekend barbecues, midnight fast food runs, Taco Tuesdays, hot dogs at the ballpark. Those moments are special, and we never want them to end. But using animals to make meat is a prehistoric and destructive technology. We're making meat from plants so that we never have to use animals again. That way, we can eat all the meat we want for as long as we want and save the planet in the known universe. So I really sympathize with their approach, with their ideology in that sense, that it's not about we're against meat or something. We want meat to continue. We want meat to thrive. We just want it to be made from plants. So that's a very, very good approach. Another success story is definitely Beyond Meat, which is also present here today. You have maybe heard that their launch at the stock market beat all expectations. I think they started at $25. Now they're a bit under 200, something like that. So they are doing really, really well. And that's actually one of the minuses of the plant-based trend is that not many of these successful companies are on the stock market. So if they would do that, that would even give them a bigger boost. So in July this year, Beyond Meat company was worth $11.9 billion. So the good thing is that Beyond Meat is also available in Europe. Impossible Burger has some food safety, or no, that's not food safety, but basically Impossible Burger contains heme. It's a type of it's what makes the burger bleed. It's a plant-based ingredient. And in order to sell it in Europe, they need to get all the necessary permissions, get all the food safety qualifications, etc. So they're working on it, and that's the reason why Burger King wants to launch Impossible Whopper in Europe as well. But now they can't do it with his Impossible Burger because of the heme discussion. So I really hope that this gets settled fast because it will be a game changer. Yeah. So. If we talked a bit about the environmental impact, so with Beyond Burger, I think it's so important to look at the background that in addition to this product being really tasty, delicious, giving you all the mental satisfaction you want from food, it actually has a very important environmental benefit. And this is why it's a good idea to add more Beyond Meat to your diet, which is luckily now available at retail stores in Estonia as well. I know that Prisma sells it. The making of Beyond Meat takes 99% less water, 93% less land, 90% less environmental impact on the ecosystem, and 46% less energy. And the main numbers come from the fact that they don't have the animal as the middle product. We don't need to eat the animal, we can eat the plants directly. So in order to make sure that a cow, who is a huge mammal, as we all know, they eat a lot. Like cows eat really a lot. So that means that all the food goes to waste that we cannot eat directly. So that's the main benefit. Another game-changing product from Beyond Meat is the Beyond Sausage, also available in Tallinn at a Veg Machine at the Balti Jaama market. And I really hope that this would be widely available in Estonia, because we're like a sausage-eating nation, and we need to have really high-quality alternatives to that. And to sum up or wrap up why these plant-based meat alternatives are really important, from Beyond Meat's website, so removing the animal from the protein production chain simultaneously and powerfully addresses 4 major problems attributable to livestock. It improves human health. As I mentioned, we eat too much meat, sadly, because we don't know what's the limit, or what's the okay quality. So we eat too much. Substituting meat sometimes with these really delicious alternatives improves your health, positively impacting climate change. As we saw from the graph earlier, Beyond Meat and other meat alternatives are really compatible on every level of this production. Addressing global resource constraints, we cannot see that in many countries like a huge livestock industry would be viable, but we could see plant-based alternatives in the market. And also improving animal welfare. And I think I really like this quote from one article which said that science created factory farming, now science helps to end it. Because thanks to food science, we have these alternatives, which means that we can keep less animals on factory farms. And I think it was an estimate from Business Wire, which says that in the next decade, in the next 10 years, the growth of the plant-based food sector is estimated to be $100 billion. So this comes together with the trend that people are being more aware of their environmental impact of their diet. The growing trend of flexitarianism, people wanting to try these delicious meat alternatives, and together with the fact that these alternatives are becoming so good that you have less and less reasons to not want them. So that's a huge game changer. And I want to talk about marketing plant-based foods, because that's something that we in Taimne Teisipäev are very aware of. And one important trend is the flexitarian trend, and it's like veganism may seem popular, but food experts say that the future is flexitarian. And what does this mean is that recent statistics show that in Estonia, there are 0.4% who are vegans and 3 to 4% who are vegetarians. So we see that numbers of plant-based foods are growing in restaurants, in supermarkets, etc. These are not the vegans making these sales increase. These are the flexitarians, the health-interested part of the consumers. So our very strong recommendation is that do not label your product vegan and do not market your product directly to vegans. Because how it goes, vegans always know. They know when there are new vegan products out there or when there are delicious places where to go and eat. But we need the average Joe to buy these foods as well. And saying that this is deliciously made plant-based patty is way better than saying that this is our vegan burger, because that's the way to get more people to eat it. And one practical tip or advice, that's one supermarket chain in the US said that will people buy plant-based meat in the meat aisle? And that's the thing that I know that in Estonia as well, many retailers put the plant-based meat in the vegan shelves, but because they think that the vegans buy these, and they do. But if you want more people to buy these, put the dairy, non-dairy products with the dairy products, put the meat alternatives with the meat, put the plant-based sausage with the sausage, and that is a way better strategy to increase the sales of these products. So although the vegans might not like it, but sadly there aren't too many vegans out there. There are way more people interested in buying these products, so that's definitely something that we recommend. So, to wrap it up, this plant-based trend is something that we see basically all over the world. I didn't have time to cover Asia here. That would take another few hours, but this is super useful for food sector companies to have in mind that sales in this sector are increasing manyfold. With the right type of marketing, which targets the flexitarian and health-oriented consumer, and not to market only to the vegan segment, your sales can increase a lot. And it has huge potential of growth. We are only in the beginning phase of seeing people change their diets due to the environmental impact of factory farming, or due to the awareness that, hey, I don't want to have cardiovascular disease when I get old. I want to live healthy and strong. So the growth potential reaches, in some estimates, $140 billion. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you have questions about the marketing consultation that we serve, you can either ask someone at the Taimne Teisipäev info stall, or find me, or find people who are wearing the Taimne Teisipäev t-shirts. Thanks.
Thank you. I also have some questions from the audience.
Yeah.
So have you tasted the Impossible Burger?
I wish. Sadly, no. I haven't been to the States, but every single person who has tasted it says it's the best. So I only have envious thoughts. I sadly haven't tasted it. I really recommend Beyond Meat. So that is something that I have personal experience from.
Okay, because there was actually a question about the Impossible Burger, like, is this a success related to the taste or marketing? But since you haven't tasted it,
I guess it's
maybe
a combination of both for sure, that you can market it really well, but if the end product is really crappy, then you won't buy it again. With the Impossible Burger, it was like retail stores had to set a limit that you cannot buy more than 10 packs at once, because people were going to the retail stores and like taking the whole shelf because they thought that it's going to run out. It's so popular, it's going to run out, so that you couldn't buy more than 10 at once. So you don't do it if you think that maybe this is not really tasty.
But if you said that the products were basically sold out, do people buy them because they're vegans, or because they just want to taste something new that's different?
The really interesting statistic was that what were the products that were bought together with the Impossible Burger packages, and the 3 most popular products, one were like burger patties, okay, obvious, but it was also cheese, and I think it was some mayo sauce. So these are not vegan products. So these were non-vegans going for these Impossible Burgers, which is really good.
But when you consider that is the rising trend of plant-based products, so are they so popular because people are just so interested in new things and it will die out, or will it stay?
I think that one of the key takeaways is that the plant-based food sector can use the fact that people are interested in new things to promote themselves, if that was understandable, in that sense that there will always be new things happening, going on, etc. But we can get more people to try these products, try these, I don't know, chickpea burgers or Beyond Meat burgers, etc. Because it's something new and exciting, and there's the FOMO, the fear of missing out, because everyone is eating it, and they're running out of shelves really fast. There must be some reason for that. So I think that this is like, together with more and more media coverage on the negative environmental impact of factory farming, more coverage on heart and cardiovascular disease impact, together with, okay, meat is really tasty, but what are the really tasty alternatives to that keep me healthy, the environment intact, and also make sure that factory farming decreases. So, yeah.
What is your attitude towards meat giants like Tyson Foods investing very heavily in plant-based foods?
I support it very strongly. And to explain my attitude behind it, Tyson is the biggest meat company in the world, basically. And when Tyson invests some of their finances to develop really, really tasty plant-based options, then that is a very good thing, because they have wide marketing channels available. That means that their products will reach a wider audience than maybe starting startups that have really good products, but they might find some difficulties reaching the big crowds. And another thing from an ethical point of view is that if a company that gets most of its money from factory farming would otherwise put all its resources back into factory farming, then now they are putting some money into plant-based alternatives. So it's an ethical win in that sense, that they finance something that has lesser environmental impact, better health qualifications, and it is a good thing that Tyson is doing this.
Okay. And one last question about Taimne teisipäev. You mentioned that you're cooperating with some schools. So in schools, who produces this Meatless Monday food?
It depends on the school. The majority of schools in Estonia get their food from large catering services, but some of the schools, a few of them have their own kitchen. So it depends whether it's a larger contractor or someone who is more independent. So sorry, I cannot. It depends on the school. So we want to be ready for both. So that's just obvious. Yeah.
Thank you, and I know there were more questions, so Christina will be here. She will also have lunch, so approach her. Thank you.
Thank you.